Thank you so much. I'm Carol, but I will not be caroling. Thank you so much. Okay, just before I start, I'm just wondering whether anyone would want to move a little bit forward from your seat. If you want to move forward, this is the time to do it now. If you'd like to come up a bit closer. All right. Okay. Thank you everyone for staying until so much to the end. Thank you. I know Sweet Kim, you're staying back. Thank you so much. Thanks Vincent as well. This has been a very long day. Who has been here since 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock? Yes, some. Wow. Resilience. That is resilience. When I sent the invitation of this event to a friend, my friend replied straight away, jokingly of course, and said that, hey, this event tests the audience's resilience. And I think it became true. Okay, anyway. Alright, so I'm gonna share a story about my life, and I titled it Before the Dots Connected. Before I get started on it, I just want to ask the audience here, how many of you still remember what was your childhood ambition? Yes, you still remember which is your childhood ambition, right? Okay. You don't have to tell us what your childhood ambition is, but I'm going to ask the next question. Did you fulfill that childhood ambition at some point in time in your life, either as a first career or subsequent careers? If anyone did, please raise your hands.
No, I did not.
You did not. Most of us did not. Okay, only me and Vincent did? Really? Wow, okay. Then I think me and Vincent are quite the lucky ones in the room that we got to fulfill our childhood ambition. My childhood ambition was made at the age of 14 years old. I studied geography in secondary school. It was one of my favorite subjects. And then I went to visit an exhibition by URA, so that's the Urban Redevelopment Authority, and then the Land Transport Authority. So they were combining together to put up an exhibition called Living the Next Lap. And at age 14, I was so caught up with the vision that the authorities had painted about the future Singapore in 50 years' time. It was so exciting, it was so amazing how our city stage could become, that I told myself that is the job I wanted. Okay, that I'm going to study really hard, get myself working as an urban planner, right? I mean, I know it's not a very common teenage ambition. How many of us have even heard what an urban planner does? I certainly didn't until I walked into the exhibition that day at age 14. But that was what I walked out of the exhibition with, that I wanted to become an urban planner. And I was a very driven child, so what that meant was I had a whole strategy mapped out in my mind, and with all the dots, exactly what I was going to do next, so that I can get to where I want to go to eventually, which was to work in URA as an urban planner. So I was like, okay, geography, 1 dot in. Next dot, okay, I know which junior college I want to go into, and I know what scheme I wanted to go into, because I know they're going to prepare me well for the overseas university entrance exams that would then get me a spot in that overseas university entrance, in that overseas university. And then the next dot after that was, okay, then to go overseas university, I need to get a scholarship, right? So, and which scholarship would I go for? Of course, I will go for the URA scholarship, because then that would give me a service bond after that, and I would definitely become an urban planner. So life was beautifully strategized out at age 14. Right? I know it sounds almost ridiculous, but that was how driven I was. And for a while, life looked very clear. Right? There was a great clarity. I moved through the dots. Every one of them lined up nicely. Check, 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 check. Then when I was in university overseas, I was surrounded by college mates who studied a great whole variety of subjects. And some of them were really, really strange to me, because they were subjects like Latin, like ancient Greek, like Hebrew, like Middle English, meaning that the English that they spoke when it was in the 1500s and 1600s in Europe. So I mustered up enough courage to ask one of my college mates who was doing library duty with me. We were both part-timing in the college library one night, and both of us on duty, so I took the courage to ask her, hey, why do you want to study Middle English? How is that even relevant in today's world? And what jobs do you think you're going to get after that? So me and my very Singaporean mindset, narrow. And then she answered my question with a question. She asked me, why does my career choices have to be limited by what I'm studying today? Right? So I think that question kind of like arrived in my little narrow-minded head like a lightning bolt, and it kind of like split it open, and then I realized that, actually, I can actually have more choices beyond what I have. And I think because of that question, it really carried me through my next almost 20 years in public service, that I actually asked for different kinds of like job rotations to different roles. Even though I started in urban planning, subsequently I went into PR, I went into public education, I went to marketing, branding, did some policy work as well, and just really cycled through all this to a certain extent that people then call me as a serial career transitioner, whatever that means. So you think about as a child we had those activity books where they have dots, right? Then they tell you, because this picture is supposed to be whatever animal it is, you go from number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think my life kind of moved from, this picture is supposed to be a chicken and you've got all it not numbered out, so you just follow the thing, to then after that, the picture become a bit more like colorful and more choices. So you don't only draw out the chicken, maybe you have like pigs and other animals, right? So there was more variety of it. What I want to say is that I think that that question carried me through the first almost 25 years or more of my career. But I reached a point 3 years ago where, for various reasons, I decided to actually leave full-time employment. Partly because of certain work pressures, partly also because I was getting very restless. I wanted to unlearn and relearn and learn new things as well, and really want to look at rethinking what's the kind of impact I want to make. So the dots shifted. Instead of having numbers on my dots that tell me where to go, all of a sudden I felt like the page in front of me was just filled with dots. But I didn't have an idea, and nobody there telling me what that overall picture should look like. Right? And there was no one telling me how I should connect the dots as well. My husband just basically gave me permission for 2 years. I asked for one, he said take one more, so that was 2 years. I said, okay, I take it, all of it. And so for 2 years, I basically had permission. What kind of permission did I have? I think I had a permission to pause. That was the first thing. Permission to pause and really relook at what I want to do or what I don't want to do, who I want to do it with, and also why I want to do it. I think that's very important. I think it also gave me permission to be a beginner again, to realize that, despite all my 25 over years of like leadership roles, management roles, a lot of different titles that I collect along the way, now that I'm not in full-time employment anymore, I'm not a leader, I don't have a team, I don't lead a team, I have no title, I have no office, I have no name card, right? So what does that actually mean? So permission to become a beginner again and not the expert in the room. And then I think the third permission was really the permission to play. What I mean by permission to play, just think about it, all the dots here that you have, if they are physical dots, think of it as like a little sandbox. You can basically go around, feel all of them out, see which one works better, maybe decide, pick up one of the dots, imagine if it's a ball, then you could play around with it for a while, go down some way on that path before deciding whether, hey, do I want to chuck out that dot, erase it away, or just go another path. And I think for the past 3 years, that was what it was. It was a lot of that kind of experimenting. Then I realized that actually it's about everyday resilience. So the resilience story that I'm talking about is not one that comes from a dramatic trauma or comes from like some crisis, but I think there are so many of us around who practices everyday resilience. Everyday resilience in the form of claiming and exercising your agency. that action that you will take, even when things look uncertain, even before clarity arrives. So this is my invitation to all of you here to practice everyday resilience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. It's really inspiring sharing things from the All right.